Tracy got my brief today for both of us to wear pink, and she's joining me, yay, on the Business Spotlight. The Business Spotlight, where I, Elaine Walsh-McGrath, interview fabulous business owners like Tracy Byrne, who is the owner of the amazing Wellbeing Edge, because I want to inspire you. Tracy's going to inspire you anyway, I can tell you that. But I want you, if you've got a dream or an idea for a business, or maybe you're starting and you're like, oh gosh, I wish this would just go better. Tracy and I are here to go, keep going, keep going. And I'm going to talk to her all about her business, what got her started. So, Tracy, thank you so much for joining us all today on the Business Spotlight.
Oh, thank you, Elaine. I am absolutely delighted to be here. And anything we can do, as you say, to inspire more female entrepreneurs to take that brave step and to start their businesses or to keep going with their businesses when those energy levels are dipping. Oh my gosh, I'm here for that.
Oh, thank you so much. And honestly, that's exactly it, isn't it? We both
Yep.
get, we are
Well,
both
we know.
testament to that.
Yes, yes.
So I know what you do, but would you mind sharing what you do with people who haven't met you before?
Of course. So as you said, I am Tracy Byrne and I'm the owner of the Wellbeing Edge, which is a health and fitness business that I established about 7 years ago now, just rebranded last year to the Wellbeing Edge. And I set it up with the express desire to inspire, to encourage, and most importantly, to empower women to start prioritizing their physical and mental well-being. And it started off as a bricks and mortar. I still have a studio here in Rathmichael in South County Dublin, where I offer in-person classes, very small group classes and personal training. But over the last number of years, it has morphed into a business that also extends residential retreat business opportunities to people. I offer reset days, which you know intimately, which are nature inspired and which are absolutely fantastic. And then latterly, I have been offering corporate workshops because I want this to extend beyond just, you know, the regular Joe soap out there. I want this to, and I see a huge application for this in the corporate wellbeing business.
Yeah. And tell me, why did you start your business? What was the motivation?
Okay, so honestly, it was my opportunity to give back, to repay an act of kindness that was shown to me many years ago when I found myself in America with three young children under the age of 4, husband with a job over there, gone working every day, and completely and utterly at sea and at a loss as to what what meaning I had beyond being mom. And a gorgeous woman offered me an opportunity to join a local health club. As you know, it all started with corn muffin. But she extended this invitation to me and basically said that there was babysitting available for me for 1 hour if I would join the club. And I had a background in physical fitness all my life. I have been raised in a sports mad family. But I had let that fall and I had let that slide as a result of just getting immersed in motherhood and everything else that that entailed. And from the very first moment that I stepped into the gym and started working out, I rediscovered the sense of empowerment that feeling physically strong can give you. And that link, that really, really, really seismic link that exists between your physical well-being and your mental well-being. And feeling physically strong makes you feel empowered in every facet of your life. It just gives you the energy that you need to basically tackle all the other tasks that are on your to-do list. And you know, fast forward, we moved back to Ireland, and I was really incredibly lucky that where we bought had basically a studio, a building that we could use as a full, a purpose-built studio. And I took it as a sign that it was time for me to go and retrain, which I did. And that was really the genesis of it, was really to repay the act of kindness that was shown me. I wanted to inspire other women to start taking that time out, and to realize that self-care is anything but selfish, that it will be something that is going to stand to you over time.
Amazing. And so you spoke a little bit about corporates, but just what kind of client do you normally work with, or
Yep.
has that evolved? Tell me about that. I know because I've done one of your reset days, which by the way was amazing.
Yeah.
But even that was, I think, a couple of years ago,
It
maybe.
was.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
which I cannot believe actually, because time is just flying.
Time is.
Yeah, tell me about the kind of clients that you work with.
Okay, so when I started, Elaine, I really firmly believed that my business was going to be the local mother market, like mums who are going to drop their kids to school and they want something convenient, well located, that they could go and have their workouts, right? And it was going to work for them, and it did start like that. It 100% started that. But then through word of mouth, other people in the community started coming to the classes, and I started offering not just morning time classes, but evening time classes as well to facilitate people who are working full time. And then COVID hit. And after COVID, it really, in the last 2 years, I've seen a complete evolution in the business. And I would say that 95% of people who come to me now are professional females working in the corporate sphere who have realize that this is something that they want to do for themselves. It's something that they have to do. Sorry, strength training, we all have to do it. It's a non-negotiable. But because of the kind of new hybrid work environment that exists, many of them are working maybe say 2 days from home, 3 days in the office. And they can schedule classes. They can schedule a class. They can work in the morning, schedule a class, and it has become something that is a really convenient thing for them to do. And yeah, I'd say 95% are. I mean, I have everybody from like I have people working in professional services companies, people working in PR companies, and people working in the healthcare sector. So it's a real broad spectrum of professions that are represented, but the vast majority are working women.
Yeah, and tell me about, I imagine that's evolving now because your brand has evolved. I
Yeah.
know you're way more active on LinkedIn. So I imagine, I've done one of your reset days. I know there was a HR person on that day.
Yeah.
So do you do more reset days for team building and
Yeah.
corporates?
100%. It's yeah, as you say, when I started off the reset days, I had been running retreats, residential retreats for entrepreneurs or just solopreneurs or just anybody who wanted 3 days to escape for themselves. And I realized the immense value that comes about from offering that kind of an escape for people, but that not everybody can afford the time or the expense of taking 3 days out of their lives, and that a truncated version of that could still offer really, really amazing benefits. So as you say, the first kind of like, I know 5 or 6 were for solopreneurs or individuals. And then the lady who came on the one you were on, HR director of she was then a real estate firm, said, oh my gosh, this is something that I want my teams to come on. So she sent a team. I worked with a hospital group and they sent a whole group of their oncologists. And that was really, really interesting. This is post-COVID, and this is a group of women who, as you can only imagine, were working literally 24/7, 7 days a week, had no break, no escape for themselves. And to see them over the period of 6 hours realize, how important it was for them to switch off, and to allow somebody else to take care of them. That is something that I, really espouse. We are always on. We're always the ones, in control with all the responsibilities. And I want to be able to afford people the opportunity to arrive and have all those decisions taken care of for them. We address the kind of, the whole work-life balance side of things. We address habit stacking. We address the importance of the strength and conditioning, as you know. And then we get out into nature. We go on those hikes. And it's there that I see the shoulders drop, the facial expressions relax, the smiles emerge, and the conversations start to evolve. And by the time we get back, and have lunch together, like it's just chitter chatter, because people are just energized, and they've been fed by nature. And that is something that I am completely passionate about. And yeah, so I have been working with corporates and HR people, heads of L&D departments, to really try and do a little bit of a change in that thought that has always existed, that offsites have to be in a bland boardroom, that you're going to sit down with your whiteboard, you're going to discuss what your strategy is for the year, and then afterwards, when you've done the kind of work side of things, you're going to sit in a room, drink wine, have dinner. Nothing wrong with that in essence. But I think we need to kind of start writing on the envelope, start thinking a little bit outside the box, and realize that you can get more out of your people if you offer them something a little bit more bespoke, a little bit more where they feel that they're being nurtured. Just it's not going to work for everybody, but I think that there is a real place for it, especially when we are all being, educated all the time about the benefits of nature, physical and mental well-being, etc. If you can cobble that together in a bespoke team offering, I don't see a downside to that. All I can see is an upside.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I really.
No, I know.
You're preaching to the converted here, but yeah,
I was going to say that. I know I am, and I'm really conscious of that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to listen to me. There are so many experts out there who are, who are doing really incredible studies on this. There's a lady called Wendy Suzuki. She's a professor in neuroscience in NYU, in New York University, and she did a study on the benefits of walking, first of all, and then just physical activity in general. And she has discovered that a structure in your brain called the hippocampus actually is physically impacted, and changes occur when you are exposed to walking in nature for as little as 10 minutes a day. And that is the area of our brain that provides us with focus, attention span, etc. I mean, who does not want to have an improvement in their concentration levels, focus, etc., in their everyday work? And if you can, achieve that by doing something as simple as introducing walking into your, daily routine, I think that's a bit of a win-win myself.
Yeah, 100%. And just the benefit of walking through a forest is phenomenal. Like tree bathing is what they call it. And it's true, like just the oxygen is different, the air. I've just said oxygen, so yes. But the light is what I meant to say. Yeah. Oh, perimenopause. So yeah,
you can walk through a forest, Elaine, and all 5 senses are brought to light, right? Okay, so you got the bird song, you've got the all the different colors, the textures, the feel of the leaves crunching under your feet as you walk, and the feel of a wind blowing through the trees. You can almost taste, you can, depending what time of year it is. At the moment it's just incredible. This spring, everything's emerging, the colors it's just a riot of color. All those kind of awakenings of our senses have such a positive impact on our overall sense of well-being. And I am incredibly lucky where I'm based here. So I can be at the sea, which I was this morning, in 15 minutes from my home, or I can be in the mountains in 15 minutes. So I know I'm incredibly privileged to have that on my doorstep. But I think, there are places in town, there's a place called the Sanctuary in town, you can go outside and find yourself. Stephen's Green, like you can find a tree. You can find nature, you just have to open your eyes and look for it.
Yeah, completely. But I love that your offering for corporates means that they can rent you out and get this experience for their people for 6 hours, and you wrap it up for them. So that is so good. Tell me, is there a common issue that crops up when people work with you? Like, are there common objections, or are there common benefits? Tell me a bit about that. Tell me a bit about your customers.
Yeah. So the customers, I think I kind of have like 2 distinct customers. So there's the individual customer who comes to me for the classes, the personal training, and for them it's the age-old, time crunch issue. It's that work-life balance and the feeling that There's no male bashing here, but just that both the mental and physical load of life um, is a little bit disproportionately skewed towards the female in the relationship. Sometimes, not always. Don't shoot me. Um, and that prioritizing time for themselves is something that really goes very far down on that, kind of to-do list. And that's been borne out. That there's articles about that. That really will say that woman will come in from a day at the office. She'll have put in her 8 hours, 9 hours. She'll walk in. The first thing she'll see is the pile of laundry or the dinner to be cooked or whatever. She won't walk in the door and go, "Love, I'm off. It's my workout time. I'm going to grab my bike. I'm out of here." So that is the main issue I see with the individual clients who come to me. And also, actually, I suppose a lot of them who are maybe hitting that perimenopause, menopause side of things, they're getting aching joints. Their energy levels are dipping a little bit. They are suffering from sleep issues. Stress levels are high, and all those things need addressing, and they can be addressed so effectively by taking 45 minutes to move your body. Right. So that's kind of on the individual side of things. And then with the corporate clients, it is, everybody wants their clients, their good employees, whatever they want to retain good staff. Right. So absenteeism, is something, you and I come from, that I remember when I started work, there was no question of me jumping ship and going to a new job within the first few years of working. I worked in international banking. That you stayed in your good job for a period of time, whereas now there is so much more mobility in the job markets. So companies are looking for abilities to retain good staff, right? So if you can retain staff by offering them something a little bit outside the box and making sure that they know that their well-being is something that is a priority for you as a company, I think that is something that I've come across. People are feeling, just the general stress of life. Okay, so that's happening in work. So that they need ways of combating that for their employees. So absenteeism, retention, feeling of, well-being is something that is, part and parcel of every company's, DEI kind of structure these days, and the fact that they have to be providing these programs for their employees. It's something that everybody, like public companies anyway, you have to do it. Under your board regulations and everything else, you have to be providing for your employees. So I'm coming across companies who are, they're looking for not just your cookie cutter, gym membership, or potentially putting, online yoga classes, or, whatever. There's nothing wrong, again, with any of those offerings. But I feel for the clients, the companies who have, say, a cohort of female employees who are going through all the issues I mentioned in terms of the individual clients I have, you need to be thinking a little bit more, being a little bit more in tune with their needs, and providing something a little bit more bespoke. If you want to retain the absolute incredible intellectual capital that you have in those people. We don't want to see these women who have all that life experience leaving the workforce because it's just all too much. So they're really the issues that I see that the head of people and L&D departments are coming up against.
Fascinating. Tell me, what part of your business do you enjoy the most?
Ooh, I have to say I genuinely, and I know I'm just back from a trip, so I'm definitely a bit buoyant today, but I interacting with my clients, like it's the personal interaction. That is my fuel. That's what gets me up in the morning. And the fun that we have, the fun that I am able to bring out in people and they bring out in me. It's a completely symbiotic relationship, seeing people, actually one thing that gives me just enormous satisfaction is seeing people who, I met, say, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever it is, at a particular stage in their lives where they were feeling a little bit lost, like I had all those years ago. They're not feeling strong. They're not really feeling empowered. And you see them crank out their first full push-up, or, manage to get to the top of the mountain, or whatever objective they've set for themselves. and you see them acing it, and that sense of pride and satisfaction that they have, you can't buy that, Elaine. You just can't buy it. It is something that lives with me because I know that they have gifted themselves something that is going to sustain them in the tougher times that are going to, and everybody's going to go through, like, it's a roller coaster, right? So some days you're riding a wave and you're feeling strong and fit and whatever. It's my job to remind them on the days when they're struggling a little bit more, hang on, don't forget what you were able to do before. We're going to get you back there again. You just need belief, and they need, like, I feel like a cheerleader, but in a really holistic way. There's no false, there's no falseness about it. We're really real in what we do. And in addition to that, like, I've been incredibly lucky that the community I've been able to build up through this business is the most supportive community of one another, independent of me. They say you build your tribe, and that is borne out every single day for me anyway.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Well, your passion for your business really, really shines through you. So tell me, like, really, the business spotlight is about shining a light on your business, but it's also to help inspire people to go, okay, I could do this. I've got this. So I love when people who come and chat to me share a little nugget about, how they have gotten clients or how they have grown their business. So could you tell me, what advice would you have to share with a new business on how they can increase their visibility?
Um, Twofold. I was thinking about this the other day. One is, for me, in my business in particular, people have to trust me. There's a huge trust factor with them. Being pretty in a vulnerable position in terms of their physical health, right, and mental health in many instances as well. So word of mouth has been massive for me. Okay, so initially, building up that, there's a huge amount of word of mouth. When I first started my business, like way back when, I did a fundraiser for my local school, and I trained 19 people over a summer for free, and we did hell and back as a fundraiser. So people got to know me. I trained them twice a week. And then a number of them decided that they would stay on afterwards and join the classes, which is fantastic. And then they told somebody, and then they told somebody, and then they told somebody. So the word of mouth is huge. And I think when you're in a position to trust, that's really important. But then in addition to that, social media has been really important for me in terms of building visibility. So I use both Instagram and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, definitely something that's become a massive priority for me since I started focusing, more heavily on the corporate sphere. But on the Instagram side as well, or, Instagram, Facebook, I would tell people to be yourself. Absolutely be yourself. Don't get caught up in the algorithm. Don't get caught up in the latest trend and what you should do and what you have to do. And I was incredibly lucky. I had a mentor who gave me just a test one day, right? He just said, like, I want you to do a video. I want you to record a video and put it up on Instagram. And I was in the horrors, absolutely in the horrors. Well, that's gone. I have no problem putting a video up now, because at the end of the day, it's about making connections with people. Yeah. And I think if you're really authentic and you believe, as you say, like, I am incredibly passionate about what I do because I know it has a real impact on people's lives, a real positive impact on people's lives. So that passion has to be seen, and it has to be authentic, and it has to be real for people to trust me with their health, right? So I jump on lots now, and I think that the videos have been a really good way of me communicating my message to people. And now trusting myself that actually that messaging works equally on LinkedIn, and not believing, which I had done until I was educated by an incredibly good business coach, whose name shall remain nameless, Elaine, that authenticity works in both mediums. Even though LinkedIn is obviously for the professionals, sector and corporate sector, we're all human. We're all individuals at the end of the day. And just say, yes, I want to direct my message to the head of people or the learning and development departments in any given company. The person at the end of that is a human too. And it's understanding what is it that they need? What do they need? Can I deliver what they're looking for? And if I can, how do I convey that message in the most authentic way? And for me, I was doing clunky posts before with probably no photos or the odd photo. I wasn't doing video. And I was getting caught up in, how's this message going to come across? Now the messages that I deliver on Instagram and on LinkedIn, they're pretty much the same. Right now, I have to fine tune it because at the end of the day, the needs of, somebody is ahead of people versus an individual looking for a trainer are different. So you have to couch it in the right words and the right phraseology or whatever, and prove that you can deliver in both of those spheres. But it's the authenticity piece that's the most important thing. Be yourself, trust yourself. And also don't be, I remember at the beginning that comparison is the thief of time. It's so true. It's so true. Curate your feed, curate your followers, curate who you're following, and try and align yourself with people whose messaging really speaks to you, not somebody who you look at their messaging and it makes you either feel inadequate or it's just not resonating for you. I think it's really important to do that on a regular basis, because I definitely at the beginning I was really, really impacted. And then I realized, no. If I'm true to who I am and I'm looking at that screen and speaking to my end user and my ideal client, well, then that's okay. It's all good.
This is it. This is completely it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen to everything that you said. It's just you can be yourself everywhere. In fact,
Yep.
if you're not, then people will go, I don't recognize you when they meet you,
Yep.
and ultimately everybody that I work with is in business, they're not influencers. They're not, and so when you're on social media for your business, then that's what you're there for, so, and people know that,
Yeah.
so, and so if they can understand that you can help them, great,
Yep.
so awesome. That's great advice. That's great advice. Now that leads me neatly to how about you? Like, what has been the best advice? Even like, I'm sure we all get different advice from different people, but is there a nugget that really impacted you that you could share?
To be honest, it was about the comparison thing. But there's two. One was the comparison. It was just a case of, look, Tracy, at the end of the day, if you walk into any given room, right, a third of the people in that room are going to like you instantly. A third of the people are not going to particularly warm to you. And then there's going to be a third of the group who are pretty much ambivalent, right? So you have a choice. You can either allow that to sway you and to put you off your step and your stride, or you walk into the room and you talk to the third of the people who, are listening and are going to warm to you and your message. And don't worry about the rest. Don't get impacted by the fact that, there might be X number of people in that room who are not jiving with your message. That's okay. That is just a fact of life. So that was one. And then laterally, it's been to trust yourself enough to say yes to the opportunities that are out there. Don't second guess it. Somebody asks you to do something, which I have done in the past, just don't go, why are they asking me? Why would they? And genuinely, like, why would they ask me? Like, I don't know enough to do this, that, and the other. Well, yeah, actually, somebody's asked you to do this. There's a reason. So 2025 was 100% my year to say yes. So I'm saying yes.
Brilliant.
Way more than I had done before, yeah. And not second guessing why somebody's asking me to do something. It's actually fundamentally believing they're asking me because, you know what, I have proven that I can deliver, and I've proven that I am somebody they want to work with.
Brilliant. Love it. That is great advice. So tell me, you mentioned 2025 there.
Yes.
So talk to me about what is the dream for you in your business in the next year.
Well, I've been doing a lot of work on this. By the end of 2025, I would love for my corporate workshop business to be a greater percentage of my overall business, and that is a sector that I can rely on. In addition, I will never give up my in-person work. I'm never stopping the studio because, as I said to you, that is genuinely my fuel. But I would love to be able to share what I can do and what I do on a weekly basis with my individual clients to a greater audience. So that's really the emphasis and the focus. So I have a couple of workshops booked in April and May. And then I just want to roll that out and just, it's all about building the contacts, building the network, and getting the messaging out there.
Exciting,
Yeah, very
exciting.
exciting.
So, how can people work with you? How can these corporate giants go, we need you, Tracy? How can they
I
work with you?
mean, oh, well, a couple of different ways. I mean, in terms of offerings or in terms of how they can contact me?
Contact offerings,
Yes, all
yeah,
of the above. All of
all of the above.
well, I have my new website since last year. So the website is thewellbeingedge.ie. And that gives a pretty good description of the two kind of main corporate offerings, which is a kind of a lunch and learn 1 hour workshop, and the corporate reset days, which can either take place. They can take place either in here in my home location, or I have partners also with the Deerstone in Lara in County Wicklow for a larger event. But I'm also working currently, I am kind of showcasing a 3 hour workshop. And I'm running my first one, I think it's next month. I can't wait for that. And that'll be like another kind of smaller version of the reset day. But it doesn't have to happen, it can be in an in-person location. It doesn't have to happen outside. Ideally, I would love that because I just think the nature bit is very important. But it does give me an opportunity to work with people on the actual strength and conditioning side of things, because that is really important. It's, we do the life coaching piece and we do all that. But we also get into the leggings and put the runners on, and we do a bit of team bonding stuff like that as well. So they're the kind of the three main areas. But in addition, I mean, and people can contact me. They can do a discovery call via the website.
Exciting. Oh,
Yeah, very
I
exciting.
like it. Watch this space. I cannot wait to see it all unfold.
Me
Tracy
too.
Byrne, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with me today on